What's up, y'all? Welcome to another review by Ryan. A very happy Sunday to all of you. It is Sunday, September the 11th, and I hope you all are having a wonderful weekend and find this video in good spirits and good health. To my US-based watchers, I do hope you all are especially having a good day. For those who may or may not be aware, today is a very solemn day of remembrance here in the United States as we remember the terror attacks that happened on 9/11 21 years ago to this date. So I hope that everyone has had an opportunity to take a moment to have reflection in regards to those events. And yeah, it's a crazy day in this country's history for sure. Our worst terror attack externally that has ever happened on our soil. So yeah, just crazy stuff. And you just you take each day, you do your best not to take each day for granted and just to be appreciative for every day that you have to be alive. And I know for one, I definitely do not take that for granted. And, you know, just being able to do the things that I'm able to do. So yeah, but moving on from that, in this reaction, we will be reacting to the 11th episode of RWBY Ice Queendom. The title of today's episode is Light in Shadows. So in the last episode, I said this, and I still mean exactly what I said last episode. I do believe that the 10th episode, when Blake went into negative Blake, that was probably the best part of this season. I felt that that was a really nice fight that was transpiring between her and Weiss, and obviously the fight is still ongoing. And, you know, I said in episode 9 that I felt that they've done a decent enough job of establishing the story that they wanted us to establish with Weiss's struggles and the struggles of RWBY and the struggle of the entire team, and that now it's just time to fight and it's time to get to whatever decisive resolution we're going to get to. And I think that the 10th episode did a phenomenal job of doing that. I really liked the fight sequence. It wasn't it wasn't perfect animation, but it was well done. I felt that it definitely utilized the animation for this season very well. And I do feel that we are now headed in a decisive direction of ultimately where this is going to end. Weiss and Blake are now fighting. Yang is now assisting with Big Nicholas, and I believe that Yang and John and the rest of them and the little Weisses are also participating in that. And then of course we have RWBY, which has now confronted the nightmare, which of course we know that this is a once and for all confrontation now, because there is no going back. If she fails, or if negative Blake fails, then we could be in a really bad situation. And first off, I'm hoping that we're able to deal with Weiss, and then second off, I'm hoping that even after we deal with Weiss, that Blake does not lose control of her own self now that she has tapped into her negative side. And y'all can't say that negative Blake ain't badass, because I gotta tell you, I was freaking out. I was geeking out most of the last episode with negative Blake. I have a special love for Blake, and I was really excited getting to see her in that state. So, you know, I hope that she'll fare well from this, and I do hope that we will get to a solution that we all desire, and that again, you will find some layer of enjoyment from this season when this is all said and done and we wrap this up. So as a reminder, this is a 12 episode season, which means the adaptation is almost at its end. After today's episode, we will have our season finale, which as of right now is still scheduled for the 18th. There have been no announced delays for RWBY Ice Queendom's finale, so I should be seeing all of you next week to say goodbye to this adaptation of the series. So, and as far as the rating is concerned, unfortunately, the RWBY Ice Queendom rating has not fared very well over the last couple of episodes, despite the fact that I really do feel last week's episode was the best episode of this season. A big chunk of the community actually kicked in now, giving the series 6 and belows, which did kind of sink its score on Mal a little bit. It's now at a 6.77, and it does continue to have a downward trend. I do believe I'm going to end at bare minimum at a 7 and at the highest a 7.5 when it's all said and done. I think I've liked the show a little bit more than the collective community, but it's for the reasons that I said. As someone that does have a good enough knowledge in regards to the original source material, the original volume series, I do understand that my attachment to the characters is going to be a little bit different than those of you who are watching RWBY for the first time. And for many of you, you were done a disservice by the studio, assuming that you would understand the bonds that exist between these girls and why the actions that are happening right now are happening. So I'm absolutely not upset with anyone for giving it 6 and belows. It's unfortunate, but it just is what it is. And I do still believe that this series succeeded at what it wanted to do, which was to revitalize some people's love for the series. And in many people's cases, some people are just going to go now and return to rewatching all of the volumes. So yeah, that's my initial thoughts, guys, and we're not going to waste any more time talking. So let's go ahead and kick into this 11th episode. And again, the title of the episode is Light in Shadows. So let me go ahead, make sure I'm plugged up. I am not plugged up. There we go. All right, and let's go ahead and get this episode reaction started in 3, 2, 1. I'm loving this soundtrack. Yeah, either way, this is the final showdown because this entire dream world is completely destroyed now. And Big Nicholas is rocking everybody's life. Sorry, we got Yang freaking driving 90 degrees on the side of the wall. Man, why you pick that damn blade up? We've already established you can't hold that damn blade. Oh. Wow. What the hell? Was that John? Because of the fact he has it in him? You wanted to talk! Look what you've been doing the last 11 episodes! Well, 10. 100%. Oh, look at you. Look at your real thoughts bleeding through. Oh, man. Well, I mean, you're the reason we're all here, Weiss. Ooh, this background music. Oh. A fight between two nightmares. No shit, you've been possessed too! Have you not known? Return Blake to you, return Weiss to us! Thank you very much. Yo, Weiss don't even know she's been possessed. This is wild. I guess that's what happens when there's a dream within a dream with two nightmares controlling their host. And regardless of my rating for the show, and I've said this for weeks now, I still think that this opening song will be one of my top 3 for this summer season. This has been such a good opening song. We had a lot of good songs, openings and endings, really this whole year. But for this season, this song is absolute banger. Mm-mm. All right. Because if Ruby can succeed in her fight here, then everything else that everyone else is doing won't matter. The nightmare will fall apart, and thus the dream. Yo. This man Nicholas is toying with them right now. Whoa. What you about to do, my girl? I'm about to say, it's about time you start using your physical strength because Yang's physical strength is completely unparalleled, as we all know from the original series. Oh, she about to rock your shit. Dang. Dang. What the? Whoa. What the hell? Did she launch her own self into a dream? Mm. Oh, so Nicholas was the one himself that told her she might have to leave. So he was the one who egged her on? I see. So Nicholas wasn't that bad of a guy at all. Oh. So he was a motivator for Weiss trying to find her own path. Of course. Is he going down? Is he not? Because he probably wouldn't go down that quickly, even from a hit from Yang. Shit, I should have done this for my man sooner. Dang. Wow. All right then. And with that ends the part of Nicholas. I don't know how y'all pulled it off, but you did. The little Weisses are absolutely adorable. Oh man. And seeing Pierce in this fashion, it's just oh. Oh. Alright then. Girl, you both deserve judgment. We trying to save both of y'all now. Hmm. Okay, but we've already determined that that's not the real nightmare. Bruh. Bruh. Oh! Of course! Of course! Her eyes would activate here. Of course! Wait, but depending on when this fight happens in comparison to the story in the main canon universe, does that mean that this wasn't her first time using the eyes before the whole Pyrrha thing happened? Damn, I have other questions now. Damn, I have questions now about her using her eyes right then and there. But I guess those questions will have to wait. Is that a good sign? Yep, got it! Got it! Good shit. We had to work our butts off! Alright, so now that means we have to get Blake dealt with now. Yeah. She had no choice, because this was her last chance to do well. Yeah, because Blake's even more, from a raw power standpoint, she's far more dangerous than Weiss. I mean, in a family like this doesn't surprise any of us. I mean, even when she was possessed, she clearly had a deep care for you, amongst all else, so. And that was before we freed her. So, of course, Weiss trusts you. Oh. You have no memory. Yeah, we have a bigger issue going on right now. Oh, man. Yes, which you just were about 10 seconds ago. My girl, there was something wrong with you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like I said, the same thing applies. If it gives out again, that's it. Freaking stormtrooper shooting type stuff. Oh. Oh, let's go! Oh! Let's go! Come on. Oh, let's go! This song! Alright, so it was starting to take one, but it still wasn't as deeply rooted as Weiss was. Uh, so she still can't get out of it until it's defeated. Okay. Oh! Yo! They rocking her shit now! Oh! Damn! Ruby, let's go! Woo! Damn. No, she had to, since it was herself after all. Ooh. I like it! With the shadow effect here. And all is as it should be. Oh. Oh. Get its ass. And with that, that seals the deal on this part of the story. Woo. Man, Negative Blake was definitely my aesthetic, though. I ain't gonna lie there. That was good. And so now the world will disintegrate and return to as it should be. Oh, but the little Weisses are gonna disappear too. Oh. Oh, and Pierre too. No. You! Damn, she really had no idea she had been taken over like this. Actually, Weiss is probably one of the most sensitive out of anybody here. Girl, everybody knows. Everybody already knows. Yeah. And thus brings this to a close. Good job, y'all. We just told you everybody already knew, my girl. You almost died. And if it wasn't thanks to Shion having the power that they do, we wouldn't even have had a chance. Oh, man. I like how that wrapped up, though. I think that was fine. And that's why I said that I wanted us to just get to the fight, get to whatever decisive conclusion we were going to be, and kind of go from there. I love that entire ending fight sequence. The last two episodes, really, really good. Very happy. All right. And for the first time in a while, we're all back here. That's what we were saying. Like, girl, you almost died. Oh, get the hell out the bed. Because these Nightmare Grim made a mess out of at least three of you. Get out of this bed. Oh, man. Chapter 12, best day ever, which will be the finale. That was good. Oh, and such a nice illustration, too. All right, so guys, everything that I wanted out of that last fight, I got. So there's actually not too much more to add than I said the previous week, but just a couple thoughts here. Again, this was a season and an adaptation that many different people, depending on your love for the franchise, depending on your love for the original, compared to your love for compared to your desire to want a change prior to this adaptation being made, a lot of different variables will be weighed into if you enjoyed this season up to this decisive conclusion with this fight. I, for one, really did enjoy this final fight. I felt that it wrapped up as nicely as it possibly could. A story that definitely has had some weaker moments here and there, especially as we were getting to the middle sections of the story. And all of the weakness that I feel existed with the story writing this season solely revolves around the liberties that the studio and the storytellers took, assuming that you would understand the bonds that existed. I personally understand enough about the immense bond that exists between Team RWBY that I enjoyed this season. I enjoyed the fight. I enjoyed the segment that happened at the end, and even their little moments in the room when everything was all said and done. So many of you are going to look at this final fight and you're going to say to yourselves, well, Ryan, honestly, yeah, it wrapped up. I'm happy that it wrapped up, but I still have no idea why anyone cared about each other this much, and you would have an absolute right to say that. I completely respect that, and I will completely admit that unfortunately they took too many liberties assuming something that didn't actually exist, and that definitely would have affected your experience going through this story about Weiss and her struggles with the Sneed Company and the nightmare Grimm taking over her and why it was so deeply rooted in her compared to others. So, but either way, I do hope you found enjoyment from this segment. And I really do find the Nightmare Grimm interesting. And, I can definitely see Nightmare Grimm elements being a part of the main story and not just being its own standalone thing, because it's an interesting thing that could definitely change the playing field for various characters that are involved with this series. One thing I did want to say, too, and y'all heard me mention the Silver Eyes. So, and this is a spoiler, so spoiler. Block your ears if you plan to go rewatch the first couple of volumes and don't know what happened to a certain character that we saw in this. Close your ears, ignore for the next 30 seconds. Okay, so as all of you know, Pyrrha does not make it past volume, I want to say it was 3 or 4, and we lose Pyrrha in a really unfortunate way. And in that fight, when RWBY saw what had happened, RWBY activated for what we are assuming the first time was her Silver Eyes. And so obviously this is a standalone, which is basically an addition to the main story, but it also is clear that this takes place when Pyrrha is still alive. So I'm wondering if, because this was a dream, if there's just no remembrance or whatever. I may be thinking too deeply into this, but I'm just trying to put the timetable together of if there's any remembrance or knowledge that she used her Silver Eyes for the first time already. Because obviously in the anime, at that time we assumed that was her very first time activating that, and she seemed very shocked that she did that after she did it in the Pyrrha fight. So I'm just wondering the timetable with that. I may be completely thinking too deeply into it, and I think that I need to take my own advice and just treat this as a standalone and not think anything further than that. So, but it was very interesting seeing her Silver Eyes come out into play again to deal with the nightmare. And for those who are not aware, and this is your first time watching the series, RWBY's Silver Eyes, these are basically, it's an ancient lineage of technique that is only certain individuals are able to do, which RWBY is one of them. And it definitely has been RWBY's saving grace several times throughout the original series, and obviously it was a saving grace in this show too. So just know that there is a deeper story into that, and obviously to understand more about RWBY's Silver Eyes and what it's about and why she's able to use it in that fashion, I would recommend you watch the volumes when this anime season does end up concluding. So yeah, but all in all, guys, I'm very happy with the conclusion. Again, animation wasn't 100% perfect, but it was fluid enough. I really did enjoy it. I love that final fight sequence. I love the final song that we got during the fight, and I'm happy to have our girls back together again. So definitely was as good of a conclusion as we could have gotten, all things considered, with the issues that have already been mentioned with this season. And I've already said this several times, I do hope you found some enjoyment from this final fight. So our last episode is going to be next week. I think it was Best Day Ever is what the title said. Episode 12, there is no delay announced, so we do expect this to air on September 18th, unless there's any complications that I'm sure will be announced sooner than later. So that wraps up this reaction. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Oh, goodness. got stuck on my throat. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like the reaction, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And if you want to be one of the first to be notified when a new reaction becomes available, hit the bell icon. So with that said, I will see all of you wonderful people next week for the season finale of RWBY Ice Queendom. And until that time, catch you later.